Hi, good evening, everyone. There's a passage in Mark 7 where Jesus is actually leaving Tyre, and he's just done so many miracles, and he's just performed so many signs of wonder, and because of that, people are starting to plot to kill him. So he's headed towards the Sea of Galilee. He's hoping he goes unnoticed, but of course he's noticed, and a crowd starts to gather around and think, who can we bring to him for healing? So they bring to him a man who was born deaf, and as a result was mute. And they bring him to Jesus and please heal him. And the man knew of Jesus' healing power, so they were desperate for healing. And Jesus takes the man to the side, away from the crowd. He reaches down the mud, places it on the man's mouth, and says, Ephphatha, which means be opened. I remember I was 10 years old, sitting in a classroom. It was so bright and beautiful. I was in 5th grade, and so there's posters on the wall that say, you can do it and dream big and whatever you tell 10-year-olds. And I remember it was raining, so it was like a contrast from the beautiful, bright classroom we were in. And the rain was it was just coming down like a downpour, like last night if you were here. And it was just horrible. And so I remember my teacher, Miss Wood, she, instead of taking us out to recess, we had to read inside our classroom, which is like the worst trade-off ever. But we were supposed to read, and so we were popcorn reading, where you go, one person reads a paragraph, and the next person, you've all been to 5th grade, so you know. And in front of me was my friend David. And David had autism spectrum disorder. And I didn't know that at the time. David was different, but David was perfect because he was David. He was my closest friend, and I knew David just liked things differently. And so as we're going around, we're sharing paragraph by paragraph, and we get to David in front of me, and David is stuttering. David can't get the sentence out. And David, you can see he's turning red, and he's starting to fidget and get agitated. And David was the smartest kid in the class, but he just couldn't read in that moment because he didn't feel safe, and a classroom is supposed to be a safe space. And in that moment, I remember my teacher, Miss Wood, starts to berate David and say, we don't have all day, come on, hurry up. And David just starts to shut down. I knew the consequence of speaking up. Miss Wood had this bright red apple, like the apple from Snow White, on her desk, but it was made of glass. So if you talked out of turn, if you kind of spoke out of line, she would take that apple and she would slam it right on her desk, and everyone would get chills, and then the consequence would come. So I knew that this was like high stakes, but I knew that my friend needed me in that moment. And so I looked to Miss Wood and I was like, come on, give him the chance to open up, like have some heart. And Miss Wood looks at me, and I make eye contact with her, and I know that my life is over in this moment, but it wasn't. She didn't slam the apple. She skips David, and it's now my turn to read. In that moment, I was like, this classroom is my space. I can really do something with this. I can speak up, and I knew it was just my calling in life, but 4 years later, was in a classroom again. And this time the classroom is at the Child Psychological Services building. And it's not a classroom with posters and that say you can do it or dream big. It's a room with statistics and graphs and outcomes that seem kind of dismal and bleak. And I remember my mom is sitting at this table with my dad and the child psychologist. And I hear the words, your child has autism. This time it's not David, it's my little brother. And I remember my mom just breaking down in tears. I mean, her tears just flooded down her face. It was like the storm from when I was 10 had transported in that room, and it was just rain clouds filled with her tears. And as the psychologist is calling out, your child may never graduate high school. Your child will need to go to speech therapy for the next however many years. Your child may never speak again. And I know my brother, and I know how much I love him, but I see what the statistic is for him, and I start to break down, but I don't quite know what it truly means for my sibling to have autism, because I knew David. 3 years later, I'm at home, it's the pandemic, and at this point, I'm 17, I'm cool, I have my license, so you can't tell me anything. But I remember I was babysitting my little brother, and we were in our living room. And at this point, my brother and I have no sort of relationship. We coexist. My brother didn't find the things funny that I found funny. My brother didn't laugh at what I laughed at. My brother there was no way to connect. My brother used to have this spark in his eyes, but it was replaced by the light of the TV. It was nothing for him to sit in front of the TV for hours a day and just live in his own world. And I remember I was 17, sitting on the couch, and Mickey Mouse was on in the background. My brother loved Mickey Mouse. And I'm scrolling on my phone, and I hear Goofy say something funny. I don't remember what it was, but Goofy was being goofy. And so I mimicked Goofy's voice and what he said because I thought it was funny. And my brother just whips his head around at me, and we make eye contact for the first time in so long. And we connect in that moment. My brother laughs. And I hadn't seen my brother laugh since he was 4 years old. I hadn't seen my brother connect since he was 4 years old. I hadn't laughed with my brother since he was 4 years old. And in that time period, I realized just how much I longed for that connection with him, but I realized I was doing it all the wrong way. I was trying to pull my brother into my world, to like the things that I liked, instead of stepping into his, instead of connecting with him. From that point on, I really tried to invest in my relationship with him and to connect in ways that he was able to connect to and give him the space to open up. And now I'm a senior in college, and my life is spent in classrooms. And classrooms have great memories where I'm like, okay, I'm an advocate, and memories that I think that my brother's life is over. And now I'm in the classroom, and I just see new opportunities every single day. Ways that I can advocate, ways that I can help speak up for others, but not speak for others. And I'm so grateful to my brother for introducing that to me. And it all goes back to Mark 7 at the end when Jesus looks up and says, Ephphatha, be opened. The man then turns and tells everyone in all of the town what Jesus had done for him. And I realized that that may be my calling. One, to be opened, but to also give space to others, for them to open up and to sing of the praises of what Jesus has done in their life, and in return, share what he has done in my life as well. Thank you.